Minor detail, yes, turn on the microphone. Okay, thank you for being here today. We are going to start the meeting at 2 minutes after 12 to get right on top of things. So if you could all stand, is Pat here today?
No.
Okay, oh, it's Pat, just had a lot of things to she wasn't here because she unfortunately is still has to put up a COVID. So see her prayers. She's feeling good. I saw you. Jody, come on. All right, please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know. I agree. And the things we think, say, and do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Let's all keep remembering what today is.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I agree. That was going to be mentioned today to think about those first responders. For sure. Oh, we have inspiration and praise.
Today's inspiration highlights Rotary Spain, Unite for Good, and it also honors and remembers those from 24 years ago who passed no longer with us on 9/11. The author of this inspiration is Barack Obama, former president. Even the smallest act of service, the simplest act of kindness, is a way to honor those we lost, a way to reclaim that spirit of unity that followed 9/11. Barack Obama.
Boy, we did that now. Okay, our greeters today, I'm going to see, I don't see Jean back there, so it must be Claudia. So do we have some visiting Rotarians? First of all, I saw a few visiting Rotarians around that I know. Okay, it's awesome. I knew Quinn. I saw Quinn. I saw a lot of faces and I saw the Rotary wheel, but I didn't know the name. So, all right, welcome Quinn Pearson. She's in the Grand Past Wednesday group. Peter Eggstock, is that correct?
Yes.
Welcome. And I don't know if there's anyone else. I think that's it. Our visiting Rotarians. Oh, yes. Okay, and then other than that, are there any visitors today? Okay, I do have someone who stopped by who may be a future Rotarian. We're working on her, and that is Diana Gillibrand. And so, as for announcement, she wanted to talk about the senior fair tomorrow. There is a senior fair out tomorrow at the fairgrounds. Lots of organizations there to talk about multiple things. They actually have like classes. I'm planning on going, so I'm gonna have somebody, Jim, will you hand this out and put them out on the table? Give me a whole lot of them, but those, that you can take a look into that. I think it's from 9 to 3 tomorrow. Great thing to have in our community. Okay, so other updates, I am here to tell you that having gone out and recruited, and I thank all of you for getting back to me about this coming Saturday, doing a cleanup, and it just was too few people to make it work, and that's okay, because I'm not giving up on we're gonna change the date, we're gonna make it a little bit, October, obviously September is the time when a lot of people are gone. So I become good friends with Christina at ODOT, and so we're going to go for October 17th, and I'll be a constant reminder that October 17th, we're gonna do the parkway cleanup, and I'm also gonna see, and I talked to her about recruiting some of our Interact kids, some younger generation people to be out there with us cleaning up, because it's a little scary when you're older, going down the parkway. It just is, and so it'll be nice, and we have to look these little things to put up to show that we're out there. So I'm gonna try to recruit some kids to do it October 17th. And the reason is I have 18th now. If you make it, yeah, my life revolves around football this time of year. I always forget, my husband is an absolute Oregon Duck fanatic. He has had season tickets for 52 years, and I can probably count on one, maybe two hands, the number of times he has not gone up to that game, and it is an away game, which I went perfect, we'll do it on an away game. And of course, I went 9 o'clock, and so when I thought perfect, it doesn't start out there till 12. You could get it done, I come back and watch the rest of the game, but oops, that's 12 o'clock Eastern time, which put it right at 9 o'clock. You just gave me that look like, serious? You're not gonna be sitting on the couch next to me to watch the game? So when we only got 8 people, it's just like, I guess it wasn't meant to be. So I'm gonna restart hiking October 18th. Thank you, Lisa. So we'll do it then. So that's, and I'll call everybody. Thank you, Greg, for volunteering if it happens. But no, I hear back from lots of you, and I do appreciate hearing back to those emails because I'm not really sure. And I'm hoping, Jan, we didn't ruin your plans. Oh, October 18th is? Something. A lot of you will be there, and I do know that. How about, I mean, I can't do September 28th or the last one in September, because I am going up to my grandchildren's house, but that was another opportunity. So we'll have a discussion and we'll see what we can come up with, because I really do want to do it, and I don't want to wait till November 1st. The last time we did it, and we got totally wiped out with the weather. So be thinking about it. I might put an email back with some suggestions, but yeah, I knew that date came in, it was familiar, so thank you for that. I don't want to intrude on anything that I know other people, great things that are going on. Okay, let's see, other announcements. I do have an announcement that I think the Wednesday, you're just shaking in their boots in terms of the food drive. I was at the president's meeting last night, and they're starting to warm up their singing voices, because obviously we are doing a great job. I don't know if Patrice has any updates, but I do know that we're rocking it. So keep bringing things in on Wednesday, on Thursdays, that's to bring to the food bank. Also, the Rotary wide steering committee met last night for the long range. Just a second, for the long range project steering committee, and Greg Fisher is our representative. Doc Baylock is also on the list. And they're gonna be meeting, they're gonna have the first meeting, I think, September 17th. And they're looking for ideas of what big project we can do Rotary wide in our community to start getting some bigger projects going, and have all the Rotaries involved. So stay tuned. But if you have any ideas, or you want to talk to Greg or Josh about something that you think would be a great idea to do to replace the duck derby, because we know how many wonderful things we talked about that last night that the duck derby did in our community. And we just want to keep that going and also get the energy of the Rotary out there, so people can visually see us out there doing good things. So, and we've got Kelly to do an announcement.
Just quickly, time for October signups. So I'm gonna be passing this around table to table. Don't be shy. You know you wanna do this.
And once again.
For the September social, it's going to be next door, the girls guys, 5 p.m. On Thursday, 25th of September. And I think you sent an email?
Yes.
Okay, and I also sent an email this morning after confirming the availability there. So it's a beautiful venue with music at night, so sign up.
Okay, so I was at the Wednesday club meeting yesterday, not to spy, but I spied. And they are very nervous about our little competition, about how much food we're collecting, you know? So they came up with this secret plan where they were all gonna throw some money in and have one guy go to grocery outlet and buy the heaviest food they possibly could, so they can beat us. So I'm just saying, you guys, we need to step it up and bring in that food, because we can't let those Wednesday people show us up, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna let Patrice give you an update now on where we are.
I didn't know I was doing this, but I'm going to apply. Okay, so Roger is the guy who's with Grocery Outlet. He's also on our board, so I love that he's really trying to get this going. But if I look at our club, just from when we began with their club, we have 1,200 plus already, but if we go with what we had when they started. We had 737 pounds and they have 284.
Let's say,
Thank you. Good to know. Now.
That is a posting on September the 16th. Gateway Rotary reads conversation about the book, The Anxious Generation. And if all of you remember what the anxious generation is related to, is the statistics and data that really show that at the advent of smartphones, there was a significant increase in both depression and anxiety in kids of that age, in the 13. And so it's very interesting, and the other piece of it is towards the end, he gives ideas, the author does, of what we might do to combat that. So if you've read it, come. If you haven't read it, those of us who will be talking about it, you might learn something. Lisa. 5 o'clock in the evening. It's in the Navigator.
And yes, I've been fascinated. I started reading and got scared. I have grandchildren who are on screens all the time, and I was just like, I can't do that to myself. I can't panic. But then I continued with it, and actually, it really educates me. It talks the difference about how it affects boys different than girls, which is kind of fascinating. And then there are things that we can do at the end that kind of makes it feel a little bit more positive about our future. So the only thing I didn't notice, I didn't put all my great charts up. I did get some input from some people who joined committees that, put themselves on committees and some changes. But what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna send out the list of committees for people to look at one last time. And there's a sign up if you want to take your name off it down at the bottom, and if you want to put your name on a committee at the top. Because I'm getting ready to contact the chairs and say, okay, these are the people we've got on your committee, so I want you to go ahead and call. And I'm also going to suggest that each one of them look at that committee list and see if there's somebody who can actually co-chair. Because we all know that if this, it's hard to do things all the time. Our Rotary is known for traveling, which is absolutely wonderful, and we certainly don't want to dismiss that, but there's a lot of things that need to be done, and we appreciate all that you get. So I'm gonna pass that out, and along with that, one of our clubs that kind of needs to, one of our committees that kind of needs to step up is a literacy committee, because school is in session, and we're starting to move forward, and there's a list of people who have been on the literacy committee. You're welcome to add your name to the list, but we want to know what schools you were working at, because some people who are new may need some assistance in finding what school they want to work at or which school might be open to it. So I'm going to send the two of these along with a pen and just let them go to various tables, and you can take a look at it and we'll see about doing it that way. And I think we're ready. Did we get that? Okay, I think I'm putting off because I saw a little bit of panic on Sunny's face there when the technical difficulties were not, the problems were coming with the technical difficulties. And we all know that when we have a presentation planned, and we're going to have to just wing it. So I'm happy to present Sunny Spicer. She currently runs the Ivory Preschool and Children's Museum as an Oregon Center for Creative Learning in Medford. She is currently working to bring a pilot program preschool and children's museum here to Grand Rapids. Thanks to the generosity of Travis and Jennifer Boersma, who donated their downtown 4th Street headquarters for the project. Beyond that, we've had a lot of committee members, or a lot of community come together, foundations that have given money to this project. And I'm hoping that in the future we can have and find ways as well as Rotarians to continue this wonderful project for our community. And especially since it's Literacy Month, this is a great chance to hear about what's going on in our community. So without further ado, Sunny, it's yours.
thank you. We'll see. How do you do this? See, do a whole lot. Yeah, you want to do that.
Snap it up. Cool. Perfect. All right. Okay, I'm Sunny Spicer. I'm with Oregon Center for Creative Learning.
And I was actually thinking about the date today, because it was literally a year ago that we were working with Dutch Bros on the donation of the building. And I'll say, so things happen so fast sometimes. So here we were a year ago, and I was thinking, how amazing it is to have somebody come forward and say, would you like a building to do this amazing project? And also, there was a big sense of panic because you get a building, and that's just the beginning. There's a whole lot that you have to do. And so we were actually debating, can we do this? We have a whole lot that we have to do beyond that. It would have to move really fast. We have a lot that's already going on in Medford. And I'm gonna tell you all about what we do. But there was a big sense of panic amongst all of our staff about, this is amazing, we have this great gift, and oh my God, can we do this? And I'll say right now, today, my staff is at the building right now, preparing to get the licensing visit because our preschool classrooms are done. They're getting ready to open. So I launched into this sort of like with the end of the presentation at the front, because it's just really great to be here today. And having gone through what the last year was, and here we are. So, how many of you have actually been to the Children's Museum in Bedford? So a few of you have, okay. So, I have been the executive director of that organization for 23 years. And when it started, it was effectively a box of toys in the back of my minivan. And so I didn't have a whole lot to show at that point. And now here we are opening our second location. Medford has had 3 different locations, but now we'll have 2 separate locations. We have 7 satellite preschools. We have 4 preschool classrooms at our Medford location. And by the end of this month, we will have opened 3 preschool classrooms in Grants Pass, with another one soon to open. So what we do. No, I'm totally not figuring this out at all.
Okay.
No. Pushing it down there. Is it power on the?
That's on, yeah.
That's on.
Yeah.
Well, you may just have to help me through this here.
Yeah, I have to just do the arrow working.
No. Okay, come on. You wanna go ahead?
Well, it's a day of technological problems. Well, our mission is to help children learn and engage through creative play. And we do that through a number of ways. Oh, yeah.
Is that what you want?
Yeah. Okay. So I told you a little bit about what we're doing in Grants Pass. Thankfully, Dutch Bros gave us an amazing building, and it's lovely. This is a little concept look. The building is probably not gonna be great, but that was just an idea, but it's moving ahead. The idea is that we will have 3 to 4 preschool classrooms. And the lower level upstairs will be a children's museum. That is underway. We have already done the renovations to put in a fire sprinkler system. We've renovated the space to have the preschool classrooms. We put in a commercial kitchen. We actually feed all of those preschoolers. There's a new entryway, so the initial renovation is done, and now we're gonna be moving into the outdoor space renovation and the children's museum aspect of it. So we can go to the next step. So what we offer in the preschool that's about to open is it's all a play-based curriculum. We have a literacy focus, we have social emotional learning, it's very child-centered. It's a Reggio Emilia curriculum that we have designed. We've spent the last 15 years designing that, and it's based on the Oregon Early Learning Standards. So as we assess throughout the year, so that your kids are making sure that they're meeting the standards for school readiness, but at the same time, they're getting to explore things that they want to explore. If they're interested in dinosaurs this week, that's what they're going to be exploring. If they want to learn about butterflies, if they want to be cooking, they're going to be learning through that way. But as they're doing that, they're still meeting all of the academic goals, just in the way that most interest them. Okay, keep going. As I said, our mission is to help all children learn and grow through creative play.
And we do that a number of ways. Next slide. We do that through the Children's Museum, our Ivy School preschool, and then we do educational programs that combine the preschool and the museum together. And that's really where we serve the bulk of the community. So next slide. We do that because 77% of the kids in Southern Oregon don't have access to an early learning experience. And frankly, I think that's one of the big tragedies of our time. Kids are so isolated, they don't have the experiences that they need for proper brain development, and our capacity as a region is incredibly low. We're making some strides in the 3 to 5 space for preschool, but still the 0 to 5 space, we are really struggling. And the reason that's important is that 90% of brain growth happens in the first 6 years. When kids have more access to adults and have quality experience with adults, then they have fewer ACE scores down the road. When parents have out there that they can rely on, that they know that they can rely on, their employment is stable. When parents' employment is stable, then the home life is more stable. They have more stable housing, they have more access to food stability. All of that creates a stronger situation when kids go into school and then beyond. So what we're doing is we're laying a strong foundation for everything else that happens beyond those preschool years. There's a significant workforce impact. So when we talk about this project that we're doing and we're raising all the money and we're doing all these things for our center, there's a long-term impact for it. So we're creating jobs, not just for our own staff and for the kids long-term. There's an immediate ongoing impact that happens all around what we do too. And next. So I'm giving you numbers for our Medford location, but this will translate here in Grants Pass as well. Our Children's Museum has 125,000 visitors a year. That generates about $1 million in revenue. Translated out, that's $2.2 million of economic development in the region. That has a significant impact. That doesn't count the preschool, which has an estimated of $6.5 million in impact. And you can have next one. And so I had a video, a really great video. And we've got some technological issues, so I'm not going to show you the video. But if you go onto our website, you can see them all. When we have parents that talk about the impact of what this means for their families, about 80% of the families that attend our preschool come in with some level of financial support. So those are families who otherwise would not be able to get preschool and the childcare that they need. So here's a quote from one of our parents who says, "As a first-time parent, I want to make sure I'm doing everything right. Having the help at the Ivy School is like adding 20 people to my parenting team." And that's Jennifer from the Ivy School. And another parent says, "Down the road, the help we receive to get Rex into preschool will be so fractional in comparison to what we were able to give back to our community and the economy." I think that's a key piece. So yes, we're helping them out on the front end, but what that's doing, and Rex's mom, she was able to get her degree. Her husband started a business, but they knew every day as they were going to school and going to work and building a business, their son was in a safe place. He was getting the start that they needed, but they were getting the start, the parents were, the start that they needed in their adult life. So it's multi-stage in what we're doing here. So for those who haven't been to the museum, I'm going to give you a little tour of what we do. The Grants Pass Museum isn't going to look the same as what we do in Medford, but it'll have some of the same concepts. So you see everything that we design is designed with a child focus. It's made to engage the families with the children. So here we have an orchard, we have a garden, then we have a packing barn where kids go, they pick the fruits, they pack them up, they take them to the farmer's market, or they take them upstairs to the kitchen. There's a place for parents to sit there and order. They create orders for the restaurant, they create orders for the grocery store. There's a place to check out. So it gives kids a glimpse into the way the world works around them. They see where their food comes from. It's all about how the community works, and there's a tie into the Southern Oregon community. Next. We have an engineering space and a lumberyard where kids go and they design big buildings, and then they get to build them with blocks, and they bring their parents into the process. They make new friends in the museum, which is a key component of what they're doing. So they're not just isolated with a tablet in front of them, looking at something and staring. They're making friends and they're learning how to work together. They're learning cause and effect, they're learning problem solving. All the pieces that are really important to their long-term work projects. We have a fire watchtower. We don't need to go into why we have a fire watchtower. And go to the next one. So we have a training table, we have a wildlife rescue space. That's teaching empathy, and that's a really critical component to when you go into a kindergarten classroom, when you're learning about empathy and sharing and how to work in the classroom and how to be a part of the classroom. One of the things that we hear from the kindergarten teachers is, like, you don't necessarily need to teach the kids about writing their name or how to count or their alphabets. And they say, we can teach them that. What we need to know is that kids can sit down in a circle, that they can get along with the person who's sitting next to them. When there's a dispute over which person has which color Lego, that they can work that out amongst themselves. When kids come into the classroom and they don't have any of those skills, that's when the classroom becomes completely unmanageable. Then nobody's learning anything. So it's our job to make sure that kids can work through all those situations and become students. We have a baby space. So when we talk about the fact that we serve kids from 0 all the way up, we really do serve kids 0 all the way up. We have play groups that come in early in the morning. Early intervention comes in and meets with us every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. That's where they start to meet with service providers if they need them. They start identifying kids. And maybe they need a little extra help. Maybe they need a speech therapist. Maybe they need an occupational therapist. Maybe there's some other help. Maybe they don't need a therapist, but they just have questions to help navigate through things. This is a great space to do that, and they can meet with other parents. The parents can start networking, and they can start meeting with professionals. Our makerspace. Now, this is a place that looks nearly identical to one of our preschool classrooms, and this is that key piece where we start to serve a lot of the people in the community that don't have access to preschool. That's 77% of the population that can't afford it, or just through capacity or schedules, or maybe they don't want to go to preschool. But here they can come in, they meet with our educators, they get the same level, high level curriculum that they would find in our preschool classroom, and they get to have that on a drop-in basis every day. And that's included with their membership, which is affordable we charge $145 a year for a family of 4, and that includes all of our programs. And also, even if that isn't affordable, we have scholarships for that as well. And here's just another one of our exhibits. One of the fun and also terrible things at the same time, when the Portland Children's Museum closed, it was the 6th oldest children's museum in the country. It didn't survive the COVID pandemic, but when it closed, we got all their stuff. So we repurposed a lot of things. That fun looking little pyramid thing there was part of the original OMSI planetarium. So those of us that grew up going to OMSI a long time ago, that was part of it. So there are a lot of things that have long-term ties to things in Oregon. So that's our water table. My oldest kids are in their late 20s. They actually played on that water table at the Portland Children's Museum when they were toddlers. So that has a long history, but we make good use of all the fun things. So it's a fun, lovely space, but that's our STEAM area. So there's lots of science, technology, and engineering and art. I anticipate we will see that in the Grants Pass space too, but it'll look a little different. Again, we want to connect kids to the world around them, what their future is going to look like. So our medical space, the medical industry is the #1 employer in the Valley. And so here we have an ambulance, we have a NICU upstairs, we have a dental clinic. We have things that start teaching kids about what their career path might look like, or get them used to what a medical experience might be and take away some of that anxiety around it. And so that's what our medical space does. At Christmas time, our NICU transforms into an elf nursery, and there's little baby elves in there, and it's super cute. Check it out just for that. We have an art space that is across the street that is a clay and culinary studio. Here's one of the clay projects that's happening. that's a space that really engages people of all ages. Honestly, we have a bus that comes in from the manor and they do play projects in there with the kids, which is really great. We have a teenage group that comes in after school on Wednesdays. It's an all age space, but it's a really fun, creative space. That is one area, I think it's the only area where we charge a little bit more. If you're gonna take the clay project home, we charge for it, but we do have the opportunity to do things for free too, to make sure that it's always accessible. This is our culinary studio. I love the culinary studio. It's such a bright, fun space, but the thing about it that's so important, we learned, particularly during the pandemic, when there were all these lovely farm boxes that were going home with kids, and a lot of parents were leaving them behind because they had these kind of unique fruits and vegetables. I mean, a lot of people don't know what to do with kale. I know that I know what to do with kale sometimes. So we started creating culinary programs where kids make the food themselves. And it's all kinds of things, like we'll do an apple tasting with different colors of apple and taste them raw, and then we cook them. We do them in different preparations. They're simple, but they're nutritious, and it shows families that you can have a relationship with food that doesn't have to be super complicated, and it's not taking things out of a bag of chips. And again, that's also free. It's included with your membership. Our outdoor space is an amazing space. It's super fun. But it was created with the idea that kids don't get to experience the natural opportunities that we have here in Southern Oregon in the ways that you probably think they can. That we have a creek, we have a cave, we have a place to go camping. We have all these things that are often restricted to kids. I grew up going camping and playing in the river. So many of our kids don't get to do that. So this is a space that's fully enclosed. There's places for parents to sit and enjoy. There's music, there's water, there's sand. There's all the things that bring kids a closer relationship to nature. We do programs outside. It's a really lovely space, but it's also very safe. And it's very educational as well. So this space in Grants Pass is possible because the community came forward and helped. I told you how panicked I was when we were getting the building. This has been an amazing community to work in. Things have happened really fast. And it wouldn't have happened without all this help. We started with a building that was a corporate headquarters, and now we're transforming it into a space for kids. So we're building classrooms, we're going to be building a children's museum, we're gonna be creating an outdoor space, and we're off to a really great start. A lot of the people here that are helping, a lot of people in the room that have been a big help, and here we are, we're moving ahead. Great things for kids in the community don't happen without the community stepping forward to make it. Next. There is November 1st, there's gonna be a fun event at Gates Home Furnishings. They're doing a mini golf tournament, and Main Street, the Grants Pass Main Street group is putting it on along with Gates Furnishing. They've already got a $50,000 sponsor. I haven't, for our mentor group, I haven't had a $50,000 sponsor for an event, so I'm already really impressed with how this is kicked off. So that's gonna be a lot of fun happening November 1st, if you're interested in attending. When I first walked through the furniture store, I said, you're actually holding an event in here with people drinking wine and all that. And they're unconcerned with with spillage. I'm concerned, but we'll see what happens. It's gonna be fun. Let's see next. Oh, this has a waxing stuff. I am happy to take any questions you may have. I'm sorry the video didn't work, but we can go to the department side.
We're gonna run a microphone. Do you want me to keep this up or keep it up? Okay.
Thank you, that was a great presentation. I was wondering if you would have any partnerships for those children that are in the foster care system.
We do, so we have, and I'm sure we'll develop these partnerships here in Grants Pass as well. So I think it's monthly, the foster care association meets, and then we have another partnership with Family Nurturing Center, so they have a group that comes in and meets. And we also have a collaboration with CASA, so CASA brings their people in, so anyone who's a CASA volunteer can get a membership and then, perfect. So you can bring in your kids if that's appropriate. So we tend to work with just about any nonprofit in the community. People want to work with us. We're happy to do it, find ways, find collaborative funding, find all the things that make it feasible. Because we look at, especially in the children's museum space, I mean, that's a space that is really conducive to family educational opportunities, to different programs for kids, and so we want to make that, it's not just our space, it's a space for the community.
That was my question. Looks like a very fun place.
It is.
And you do have a meeting room, isn't that part of
Yes.
this? Yes, I've kind of been involved in it and I noticed that they did build that in.
What is your mix between volunteers and paid staff?
So. Now, this is not to dig in my brain and remember the numbers. We tend to have about 300 to 400 volunteers a year that come in. You know, they're not there all the time. Because we work with kids, we have to be careful how we work with our volunteering. Like, we can't have volunteers that are supervising kids. But we do have foster grandparents that are in the classrooms. We have, I think nearly every classroom has a foster grandparent. And then for all of our projects that go on, we always have volunteers that come in. We have a really good relationship with high schools that they come in and they can support that. So we have a lot of volunteers, but we have a full-time volunteer coordinator that works with them. And it's a pretty significant part of what we do. And talking about the younger kids, like the high schoolers, that is something that we really want to engage that group so they can see what early learning is like and see if that's a pathway that they want to do long term.
I don't really have a question. I really just wanted to make a comment. How insanely lucky we are that Sunny was willing to step in and take this on. I mean, we were in a place where we were in a huge shortage. She was willing to, I mean, it didn't really matter that we had the building if we didn't have somebody to fill up to run the building. This is such an incredible need for not only our ability to be able to raise our kids, but actually for our economic vitality for the region, because we have a lot of barriers. And this tears down one of those really important barriers to get young families to relocate to Southern Oregon. So I just want to personally say, thank you so much.
All Care has always been a really important partner, and I can't stress this enough. Without people being a part of what we do, we can't do it. Whether it's stepping up with resources or showing up to events or just talking about the fact that this is an important thing, you know, we can't do our job without those partnerships.
I have a question about ESL. Because I'm assuming and I'm hoping that you are getting a population of little ones that don't have command of the English language, may not have a lot of command of their own. And if so, if you are serving that population of kids, do you also collaborate with the school districts and work with their ESL people?
So, you know, we're just starting in Grants Pass, but I can tell you what we're doing in Medford, and I hope to continue all of that. So in Medford, we have classrooms in 6 of the elementary. We have 7 classrooms, and then we're in 6 of the elementary schools. One of them is at Jackson Elementary, where they have the Spanish immersion program. A good majority of our classrooms have dual language, and it's not just Spanish, actually. And so that's always a priority. It's a priority in our programs as well. And when we talk about accessibility, it's not just language barriers that we're talking about. We work with a host of experts and community partners to make sure that we're serving the needs of the community. And you know, there's going to be gaps. There's always funding struggles. There's expertise struggles. And right now, finding staff that are multilingual is harder and harder. But we certainly strive to do that. And we work really hard to make sure that our staff is really well versed in a variety of needs. So sometimes to our detriment, we're really well known as the school that works to support kids of all sorts of varying needs. And so about 60% of our kids tend to have an ISP. And sometimes that can be a language need, it can be maybe they have speech therapy, that can be developmental need, whatever their extra need is, our staff is well trained and versed in that. And because we have that partnership with the school district and we're actually in the schools, it's one of the reasons why we're in the schools, is to sort of continue that trajectory so that families make the connections, they find the services, and that they're in a good space, so that by the time they're in third grade, hopefully they won't need any of that extra support.
Any other questions? I just want to ask a question, and this is just how best can people come about and support it and make this happen? 'Cause I know, and I'm kind of proud of the fact that while I was in city council, we did get DeVoe Park, which was the little park that we put in for Lacey, you know, to keep him from putting a strip club in. Now it's gonna have a lot bigger purpose, which is we've actually, the city, for I think it's $1 a year, another one of those $1 a year deals. But anyway, I think city won't read it, but they are going to let them lease that, so that will be part of the museum. And if you've ever been over to the Medford Museum, their outdoor area is absolutely amazing. It's just fun, you know, you just get to see the kids out there, just enjoying so many things. And so I think where ours is located, and thank you, Jen, for that location, because it brings people to downtown. It will just be such a more positive place with that area out there, and they are actually putting in sidewalks all the way around and fencing it off so that it will be very safe. It will be part of the museum, and you can't get in unless you go through the museum to get there. So safety is always the #1 priority. But I know you're also getting ready to do, like, you saw the ambulance, the medical area. I mean, is there a way for groups to sponsor some of those things, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So getting involved and diving what the exhibits look like. We haven't designed what the museum's going to look like yet, and we want it to represent the community. And so we'll be looking for sponsors. That can be through actual dollars, it can be in kind, it can be giving your time. I mean, there's a lot of ways to be involved. You know, just this week, we had a big bark delivery for the outdoor space, our temporary playground, and we didn't have anyone to spread the bark, so we didn't plan that very well. So we needed the volunteers, and we don't have our volunteer course set up here in Pascagoula yet, and so we need to start working on that. But there are so many ways to be involved, whether it be donating supplies and materials, if you're an artist, helping get involved with that and painting some things within the exhibit. If you have a business and you have some ideas on the exhibits and you want to have that represented, there's ways to do that. Evergreen was one of the first businesses to jump in and get involved. So there are a lot of ways to be involved. And the more people that take part in this, the better museum we're going to have.
Thank you, Sam. And this is very near and dear to my heart, because as I have said before, as a school teacher, I remember, you know, starting at 6th grade and then kind of going, oh man, they need more earlier. So then I went down to 5th grade and it's like, oh man, they still need more earlier. And so then I went down to 3rd grade. And then once I was out of education and retired, the first thing I did was get involved with a friend who has a preschool to realize, you know, how early families and all those things need the resources and how important those early years are. So I am very excited to have this here in our community. I think it's going to be a game changer. And I think one of the problems I saw as a city council people is recruiting young families to stay here in our community. We have a lot of doctors and things who come here and then they leave because there's just not a lot for families. And so this is the beginning, I'm hoping, of getting a lot more of those things happening in our community. So thank you very much, Senator. And now our sergeant today, I'm going to hand it over to Judy.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to ask Tina Marie, would you come help me we're gonna do a little differently today. I have some people who've agreed to share, and so we're gonna get through that list. And then anybody else who wants to share, and I hear Jean Marie, here's the list. So I know, you know, most of these people, you're going to Janie first, I'll tell you why, but, so, I was prepared last week to do a little thing around Labor Day, because it was just after Labor Day, but the program went long. So I'm gonna leave it to you to Google Labor Day and get your statistics and information on that. And, just know that Oregon was one of the leading states in the labor movement, which was, and embracing and endorsing that. So, happy bucks today. First, I'm gonna remind you, remember, where's Steve Rowe? Remember when it was Steve Rowe's birthday? And we gave him the opportunity to either make a $20 donation or we're gonna sing for him. And in the speed of light, Steve Rowe stood up and threw $20 at us. And so tomorrow, Janie, our own Janie Duell, has a significant birthday. She's gonna turn 39. And we gave Janie the same opportunity. Would you like us to sing or do you want to make a donation?
Except for I'm not as rich as Steve, so I believe you said I only had to donate 10.
Excellent. And happy birthday to you. Okay, so now all the stories, we're gonna be quick. You get the whistle if you go on too long, but these are all about your best job, your worst job, your dream job. And before we start, I can see Patty's not here, and this was specifically to her, Patty Hansen, that if your story includes your time at Hooters, I will donate $20 for you not to share. You can ask Patty about that later. And so I don't really think it was Hooters, but okay, Cindy Grondal, you're up. What's your story?
About working.
Anything?
I've had all kinds of jobs. I was lucky. I was born and raised here. I had lots of family members, logging company, laundromat, restaurant. So I've done them all. But probably my most favorite was the travel business. There is a life outside of Grants Pass, believe it or not.
Come on.
But every time I flew back in from overseas, I was thankful to be back in the United States. Because we are very, very lucky. It does show you that. But that's probably, right now I am doing nonprofit work. Which if you had asked me 20 years ago, I would have said, oh, no way. Don't have time for that, but. Actually, Women's Grace Support Team is my heart now. The people that we help out of really difficult circumstances is something that's incredible. So that's all I can say. So my being involved in Rotary has been very, very good too.
Well, thank you, Cindy, and we appreciate your happy bucks, and we'll go on to Greg Smith. You're up. You got anything fun to tell us, or sad, or the first time you got fired, or the first time you fired anybody?
I had all kinds of stories, but so my best job and worst job are the job I work right now. It varies every day.
It's both, best and worst.
So owning and operating offices for the last 34 years. But today I'm gonna share a little story of right after COVID, we're kind of recovering, minimal crew. I had an exodus, I lost a couple people. So I'm down to myself and one other check. And so I'm working a Friday by myself. My only job for the day is my parents' cars. My folks are sitting at the service desk chatting at me and I'm working on their car. Run around the back of their car, slip. Next thing I know, I'm sitting on my butt. My ankle's pointing 90 degrees to the direction of travel. So my folks didn't see this, but I had to summon them over, ship dad to the office to get my office chair. So my mom, my little bitty mom, is pushing me around the office while I'm instructing my dad how to lock up the shop, shut off the compressor, get everything closed up so I can go to the emergency room. And then immediate panic because there's just two of us. I'm the only guy who can open and close the business. And I just took myself out of the game. So how the hell am I gonna survive this? And then over the weekend, I managed to hire a service writer, got somebody in, managed to find some people and got back in shape, but it was instant panic. And so certainly one of my worst days.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, but we will accept your sad bucks. On
the happy side, though, today the business is strong, profitable. I just had COVID and my crew ran the business excellent. So
All right,
That's sad.
and you all heard him say profitable.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, so Allison was on the list and Patty, let's go to Dawn Welch. What's your story, Dawn?
You know, I kind of hate to think that you said Hooters because I shared one story with you that I'm not going to share. It's a little too personal. But
Don't
I'm
you
just-
stand up? Thank you.
I'm gonna say that it would be my first job. My best friend and I graduated from high school. We were both only children, which might explain our lack of good judgment. But anyway, we decided, all right, we're going to college now. We're gonna be college roommates. We're gonna try and find a job. Well, it was summertime, right? So motels were hiring extra people. So Adrian and I applied to be motel maids. That was all fine, but
Oh, elegant.
lesson in economics, Adrian and I decided, all right, we can get these rooms done really fast. Now, there are two other women who were longtime workers in the same industry. We said, we can do that, and then by the afternoon, we'll get to go to the pool and be with our friends. Well, so we did twice as many rooms as the other veterans did. And after 2 weeks, they sat us down because once the rooms were done, everybody was done and we were being paid by the hour. So essentially we were cutting their funding down. So they said, you have got to learn, slow down. So it kind of ruined our summer, but I guess it helped them.
It's a great story, Dawn. Thanks. And you guys just throw your happy bucks on the table or Dawn, what was I gonna ask you? Oh, so you were popular with your employer, but not popular with your coworkers. These are labor relations, issues, right? And so we have Peter Angstad in the house today. And if you don't know this, Peter is the retired president from RCC, and he's the person who hired me 12 years ago. He's the only reason I moved back to Grants Pass. And for that reason, and I know he makes a lot more than I do, he is going to share a fun story for us, and we're going to get some loot out of him. Peter?
As a guest, I didn't think I had to do this.
There you go.
But anyway, as Judy was pointing out, I was president for 12 years here from 2004 to 2016. But I used to be a river guide here in the 70s and 80s, and I'd come into Grants Pass every summer and do river trips down the lower road. And I always used to think this would be a beautiful place to live. I really wish I could live here. And so in 1979, I read in the newspaper, a job wanted to add, back in the old days, you could really see how old I am. Nobody reads the job wanted ads anymore. But I saw an ad for an assistant something or other at Road Community College. And I thought, wow, I have a master's degree. I'm gonna apply for this and live here full time. And I thought that would be the most wonderful thing in the world. And so I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And then finally I got a letter that said, your experience and abilities and qualifications don't exactly match what we need for this position. Thank you very much. I was really disappointed. I was, I think, 24 years old at the time, and I thought, I want to live in Grants Pass. So anyway, life went on, and later in 2004, 25 years later, there was a job opportunity to be president. And I thought, I'm going to apply again and see what happens. So this time, they did accept me. My job qualification and ability did match what they were looking for. And so I got to be president. So I told this story to an in-service, and Lutz and Tommy and some of the others might remember this. It was about the first year I was there. I told this story at an in-service with probably about 200 people in the audience. And the point being was perseverance and tenacity and to stick with it. But I told this story and about the fact that I had been rejected, and then finally I got a job. I got to move to Grants Pass. And so I fulfilled my dream. And somebody said, well, did you fire the person who wrote you the letter? And I thought, wait a minute, this is perseverance, tenacity, not retribution. and vengeance. But anyway, that was the story.
Thank you, Fiona. Okay, good. And we got Don Schwalik in the house. He's gonna share. And he's our last one, so if anybody else wants to share, we're gonna have a couple extra minutes.
So Judy called and is like, okay, talk about your worst best job. And she's like, oh, well, you know, your time working at Chippendales. And that actually reminded me that I actually did win a strip off at a burlesque show.
Too much information.
And I was like, okay, that's the worst story, worst job. And I'm like, God, it was a campaign that I ran, and it literally might take an hour and a half to explain all that stuff. So I want to do that. So I decided, why don't we just talk about the worst day I had in a job. So it was like, it was one of my first campaigns that I was working. I was working for a moderate Democrat in the central coast area, in Toledo, Oregon, in the middle of kind of a backward neighborhood. And I'm, you know, kind of hitting doors, and it's pretty conservative there. You know, I'm walking for Democrat, and I'm walking up, and there's a Republican male that I need to go knock on the door, whatever, knock on the door. I'm walking up, this guy is angry, and he is pissed. And he's like, why are you at my door? What do you do? Because whatever. It's like, well, you know, you're talking to me, you know, about local candidate, maybe will help. And he looks me dead in the eyes and he's like, what party is she? She's a Democrat. And he literally picks up a gun and pulls it and shakes it at me and says, if she were a Republican, I'd run you out of here with this. I'm like, okay, great. So then I'm like, okay, shaking because I was young. I was like, I'm just gonna keep canvassing because, you know, that should stop your day. The door after the next, knock on the door. Somebody yells, the door's open. I, like an idiot, open the door to find a naked fat man standing there who runs behind, clearly was expecting someone else to show up. And so I just was like, I'm done. So I left. But I will tell you this much, the hilarious part is that so many canvassers that I worked with for so many years, I know the look after the end of canvassing when they have seen a naked fat. Oh, yeah, share that.
All right, well, thank you so much. You know, I think we're actually finished for today. But I can't top that, right? So we go back to Valerie and close up and get the card draw and all that.
Got the cards. No, you got the card, Julie.
You're the card maker.
Judy, you're the card person.
You do it. Thank you, Josh. That was great. There was nothing to top that one. I don't.
Queen of Spades. Woo!
All right. Got it.
Anybody have the Queen of Spades?
And 20 diamonds.
Nobody?
No.
Nobody.
You in the back? Come on, check.
6 and a 9.
Five diamonds.
Oh.
Come on, wake up.
Okay, there we go. Greg is our official winner. All right, thank you for another great meeting. That was wonderful. Thank you, Judy. Nice way of modeling how to get those bucks out of people. There's a couple other birthdays around this time of year as well. So I would have let you know who else you could go for this time of year instead of singing, but we'll let those two ride because we know who we are. Okay, so thought for the day. Educating all of our children must be one of our most urgent priorities. We all know that education, more than anything else, improves our chances of building better lives. Nelson Mandela. And this is a short, sweet one, which I thought was really good. Kind of goes back to that ratio. Play is the highest form of research. And that's Albert Einstein. So, have a great day. Have a great week. See you soon.
Sonny, before you wander off and other people start talking to you. I've done when he's willing to do the construction project.
Oh, yeah.
So if there is somebody who's going to coordinate that.
Yeah.
The community. So, I'm like, oh,
Absolutely.
Maybe right on what for, if the timing works and we have enough time to get organized, we can come out and we can either do construction or we can.
That'd be
whatever.
great. Really great.
Yeah.